More breaking news right now. A new Truth Social post from President Donald Trump saying this. Today, an Iranian-flagged cargo ship named Tuska, nearly 900 feet long and weighing almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past our naval blockade, and it did not go well for them. The U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer USS Spruance intercepted the Tuska in the Gulf of Oman and gave them fair warning to stop. The Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engineer room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. The Tuska is under U.S. Treasury sanctions because of their prior history of illegal activity. We have full custody of the ship and are seeing what's on board. President Donald J. Trump. Well, back with us now, we brought her back, former State Department Deputy Special Envoy to Monitor and Combat Anti-Semitism and the State Department's firstborn, Iranian-born Special Envoy, or Envoy rather, Eli Kohanim. Thanks for coming back. So what do you make of these latest developments? President Trump just posted the truth.
Anna, it is good to be back with you. And I would say that the Iranians need to understand that when the president threatens something, he means it. And this has been their mistake all along, Anna, is that prior to Operation Midnight Hammer, when the president extended the branch of diplomacy to them and they failed to take the deal that was offered to them at that time. And then they saw Midnight Hammer, those B-2 bombers come in and bomb their nuclear program. And the same thing just prior to Epic Fury. So the Iranians need to really understand that when President Trump threatens something, he means it and he will carry through. He always gives them the opportunity to engage in talks. But when they fail to accept the deal that is offered to them, then they feel the might of the U.S. military.
So the president is saying that they struck a hole in their engineer room, and that the ship is now in their custody. But it doesn't sound like it did any more damage that he is willing to post on social media, at least at the moment. What does that tell you?
Well, in the post, the president describes that the vessel is now in U.S. custody and they're inspecting it, and that he has already declared that they are, that they have gone against our sanctions regime against Iran. So my expectation is that we're going to see what's inside this vessel, and if there's oil that was bound for China, that could be problematic for them. It will be interesting to see if there's anything else there. But the bottom line here, Anna, is that the United States is going to maintain this blockade. And my prediction is that we're going to maintain the blockade even if a deal is struck in Islamabad this week, because the blockade has become our real leverage point with the Iranians to make sure that they comply with anything that they might sign with us in Pakistan this week. Let's remember, Anna, that the Iranian economy right now is really on the point of collapse. Mm-hmm. So you've got a currency that was almost valueless back in January when the Iranian people came out on the streets to protest in the first place. You have a run on the banks in Iran right now, and you combine that with the blockade, which is costing the Iranian economy $500 million a day in lost oil revenues.
Yeah,
Exactly. And so this is our key leverage. After we finish hitting all of our military targets, we're now holding them at an economic chokehold. And so I don't see us giving up the blockade anytime soon.
Do you think the president will see this as an escalation? I mean, we don't know who this cargo ship belonged to, except that it was flying an Iranian flag. But how do you think that will impact things looking forward? I mean, the ceasefire is already on shaky ground.
Well, Anna, this goes back to the conversation you and I were just having before the breaking news, which is that I believe there's a fracture within the regime right now. And so the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, which is essentially their military, has freedom of action right now. And so this is what they are doing. They seem to be trying to undermine the political process. Now, I don't think that the IRGC will necessarily be able to continue doing that going forward, but I do believe there's going to have to be some concessions made to them if a deal is struck stuck in Pakistan this week. The IRGC is probably looking for some sort of amnesty for themselves. They're probably concerned that they're going to be thrown under the bus by the politicals who have been in conversation with the United States. So let's remember that's the foreign minister Araghchi, the Speaker of the Parliament Ghalibaf, and the President Pezeshkian. Those are the figures that have been in communication with the United States directly often, and the IRGC has not. So they are probably trying to protect their own interests in this process right now.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.